So our presentation will be analyzing SB 8. I am Alejandra Martinez, and
I'm Cristobal Goldberg.
What is SB 8? SB 8 is also known as the Texas Heartbeat Act. It was enacted on May 19th, 2021, but it was commenced or put into action on September 1st, 2021. This law bans abortion after the detection of a fetal heartbeat, which is usually around 6 weeks into pregnancy. It is one of the most restrictive abortion laws in the nation. It bans abortion regardless of rape, incest, non-viable pregnancies, and when the fetus has a fatal or untreatable condition. This law is enforced civilly rather than criminally. This means that people sue somebody that they know has performed an abortion and get a $10,000 reward for it. So any private individual can sue anybody for that. And since it's not enforced criminally, that means that the police aren't the ones that go out and investigate or bring people in, basically. And this law has been highly controversial.
Well, some of the causes are like the clashing ideologies and values. So when you see it from a political standpoint, it's more of like conservative against the liberals. So it's like the pro-life against pro-choice. That means pro-life, they value life and they want to protect it. And pro-choice means that they want to advocate for like bodily autonomy and how it says there, my body, my choice. Our religion influences where people stand. So we don't want to say that every religion stands for like the pro-life stance, but most of them like are really influenced by that. So on the Roe versus Wade, seen as wrong is that when that conflict happened and the decision declared like a pro-abortion law that was constitutionally protected. After that, like Texas continued to go for more of like the banning the abortions until now that we reached like the SBA, that is one of the most restrictive laws in the nation.
So some consequences based on socioeconomic status. This law disproportionately harms people of color. Even prior to this law, the restrictive abortion policies in Texas disproportionately burdened Hispanic women. And patients obtaining abortion at 12 or more weeks gestation in Texas are more likely to be Black, low income, and travel far distances to obtain in-clinic care. Many times, these patients are prevented from obtaining care. These things happen in 2022, as the citation says, and this law enacted in 2021 has only exacerbated these inequities. Ayan Metzger, she is a spokeswoman for Planned Parenthood Federation of America, commented on SB 8 saying that it is a significant threat to Black and Latinx communities who are already subjected to race-based surveillance, policing, and violence by the state, and who now fear the same from their neighbors. This is due to the law being enforced civilly rather than criminally. People feel persecuted.
So other consequences that we find out were restrictive abortion policies may compound existing racial, ethnic, socioeconomic, and intersecting racial, ethnic, and socioeconomic perinatal and infant health inequities. So in the first year, in which all wanted induced abortions in the United States are denied, the estimated annual number of pregnancy-related deaths would increase by 7%, and in the subsequent years will go to 21%. So non-Hispanic Black people will experience a higher rate of 12%, and in subsequent years, 33%, and Hispanics go from 6% to 18%. We found another consequence about this, Alejandra said it, that there's this award of suing people. So women now fear of being sued by anyone that finds out that they're seeking for an abortion. And I quote, the women arrive fearing they're doing something wrong by crossing state borders to get their abortion, or that someone is following them and their abortion will be discovered when they return home. So consequences to other states. Some other states like Oklahoma saw an increase in the amount of patients and abortions. Texas have been traveling far to get abortions. There's 12 non-border states that saw an increase in patient clinics like Illinois, Washington, Ohio, and Maryland. I quote another one. The organization has treated 10 times the number of patients they normally do since a restrictive abortion law went into effect in Texas on September 1st, SB 8. This made those state residents seek care in other states. So now the Oklahoma residents, because of the overflow of Texans in their clinics, went to get an abortion to Kansas. They saw an 800% increase, and Oklahoma now has approved one of the most restrictive abortion bills in the nation. It's just approved by now. Here's like a little pictures that we found out. So in the far left, the blue one, it says that in those 3 states that are Nevada, Colorado, and New Mexico, 80% of the out-of-state patients are Texans. So if you go to the top right picture, all of the red states are trying to approve or file over 250 bills that restrict abortion. So you go down now, 6 of those states that are in red, pink, are down to 1 provider to this type of procedure. And compared to this point in 2018, there's a 62.5% increase in the number of 6-week abortion bans introduced.
So the finance portion of this law, most women pay out of pocket for their abortions. Federal Medicaid funds only cover for specific cases. But low-income women are most likely to be uninsured, which is just another way that there are socioeconomic impacts. The average cost for an abortion in the first trimester was $470 in 2008, and that has only increased. I believe that it has risen up to almost 1,000 by now. And another finance portion of this is, as we mentioned, the $10,000 award for reporting or filing a lawsuit. There's a quote here from Melissa Murray, a law professor. She said, if the barista at Starbucks overhears you talking about your abortion and it was performed after 6 weeks, that barista is authorized to sue the clinic where you obtained the abortion and to sue any other person who helped you, like the Uber driver who took you there. So this is an infographic explaining more about what I just talked about. Most abortion patients have health coverage, but like I said, most women pay out of pocket. And 17 states have policies that use their own funds to cover abortions for women on Medicaid. So our analysis or our opinions on this is that the ban is very early in pregnancy when many don't know that they're pregnant yet. So it doesn't give people much room or much choice at all. It practically takes away the choice part of it, which due to Roe versus Wade is constitutionally protected. And like I said, a big reason that this law is enforced civilly rather than criminally is due to them trying to avoid any like challenges of unconstitutionality. We also believe that it causes many inequities, as we mentioned, with low-income people and people of color. There's a lot of social injustice in this, disparate impacts. And we think that this law won't eliminate this procedure. People will still get abortions. They're traveling out of state. I think people, if they can't travel out of state, will get unsafe abortions. It can just be very potentially dangerous. And it's argued to be unconstitutional. And arteries have not been developed yet. So I'm not exactly sure what her name was, but there was a doctor that said that at 6 weeks, the arteries, the heart arteries have not been developed yet. So it's not a true heartbeat. It's more of the electric pulses that start to begin in the heart. And it has a projected domino effect. As we mentioned, Oklahoma has recently passed one of the most restrictive bills on abortion. So I think that we'll only start to see an increase on restrictive laws.
So to wrap it up, SB 8 is the most restrictive law, abortion law in action to this day. It bans abortion before pregnancy is normally detected, as Alejandra said. At 6 weeks, you don't have any symptoms. Physically, you don't have your belly swollen. So yeah, it's pretty restrictive and it doesn't give much choice. Well, as I said, it bans abortion in almost all cases: rape, incest, life endangerment. Disproportionately affects minorities, as we proved in some of the quotes. People have to travel farther for this type of procedure that makes an overflow of patients out of state. As we mentioned, the domino effect that will increase the bills, anti-abortion bills all over the nation. And it promotes the persecution against people that need this procedure. With this $10,000 award, it's pretty invasive, and it kind of like promotes people to like snitch. And these are our sources. Thank you.
Thank you.